Hi folks, Six Slices here. This is take 2 on this one. This is the Colonel Coon knives, 5-inch or large toothpick. No racist overtones here. The coon in this is a raccoon. Colonel Coon is a raccoon. And then on the tang stamp here we've got Colonel Coon USA. And on the back we have, and this is sort of interesting, handmade in the USA. So this knife is actually an American-made knife. It's made by Smoky Mountain. Well, the brand is owned by Smoky Mountain Knife Works. So I don't know who they commissioned to actually do the making, but it's made in America, not China, which is obviously they're famous for their Rough Rider and Marbles brands that are made in China. Now, there's walnut scales. It's available also in yellow, I believe Delrin or something similar, nickel silver bolsters, stainless steel liners, stainless steel spring, and I expect 440A steel for the blade. I don't know that. It's a sort of semi-polished, stone washy sort of finish on the blades. Very practical knife, actually. This is genuinely a knife you could put in your pocket and carry and be very happy with it day to day. Unfortunately, of course, in the UK, although it's a slip joint, it's a 4-inch blade, a 5-inch handle. 5-inch handle's fine, but the 4-inch blade means it's too long to be street legal. You'd have to have a good reason to carry it, and I can't think what a good reason to carry it is. That what's the job that you need this knife for that you couldn't do, just with an ordinary sub 3-inch pen knife, and you'd have to be particularly picky. I could make a case for an open L if I was going camping or on a picnic or whatever, specifically, but I think I'd struggle to make a good case for needing this knife, but it fits nicely in my collection. Now, I got this from Tobias, Knife Chats with Tobias, which if you don't already subscribe to, you really should. Tobias is great. It's fantastic history, incredible knowledge, and a vast collection to pull examples from. Whenever he shows something and says, he pulls out an example to go along with it, and he's got 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever, different examples, different makes, different models or whatever, different finishes. So he's really, really good, and he's got the best voice. Anyway, he sent me this and a couple of other knives, just because he's a nice guy. No reason, just did it, which I love. I mean, there's some really nice people in this knife community. He is right up there, one of the very best. Anyway, so I would love to be able to carry a knife like this, but I can't carry a knife like this in the UK because it's just too big. But it's an American-made knife. It's also an American pattern knife. I don't believe that this is something which has its history back in Sheffield, as one often finds with a lot of knives. Even Bowie knives, although it's American pattern, the vast majority of Bowie knives in America up to about 1890 were made in Sheffield and exported. I've just never seen this knife. Now, my suspicion is that it doesn't come from a Sheffield pattern. It's somewhat different, and I suspect, and this is why I filmed this other knife early, I suspect it comes from the French La Guiole, because, let's move that up a little bit, I think there's a lot in common between the two knives. Now, you've got this particular one, you've got a slightly different shape to the blade, in that the La Guiole, the kind of clip, as it were, starts right up here, whereas it's a bit further up on the toothpick. but that is more a function of this toothpick as opposed to toothpicks absolutely in general. Because I think you quite often see blades that are more laguiole shaped, but when you think of the slender handle and the powder horn tip, I don't know this, and I've never been told, I've never read anywhere that somebody said the toothpick is a derivation of the laguiole, but I can't help thinking that it is extremely likely that that's where the tradition comes from, rather than from anything out of Sheffield or Germany for that matter, because you just don't see knives of this shape in either of those countries. This is the French laguiole is pretty much unique, I think, in its design until you turn up the toothpick. Fly in the ointment there. Fly in the ointment is that they are probably about contemporaneous in their origin. I believe this is a sort of 19th century American innovation, and the laguiole, for all some people like to give it Napoleonic connections, is actually 1830, 1840, something like that. I think it sort of first appears, and the Napoleonic B is even later. So they may have sprung up around the same time. I don't know. But I'm sure one day Tobias will fill in either in the comments here or do another video on large toothpicks to tell me what blithering nonsense I'm talking. But I'm sure he'll do it very politely. That's the sort of person he is. Anyway, I say it's a good knife. It's a good knife. It's a good working knife, and I would love to be able to carry this. It's a great apple cutting knife because it's a very thin blade, though it's quite shallow. You know, it starts off thin, so you've got a nice thin edge. Grind on it isn't perfect, but these are budget knives. If you could buy it in the UK, they'd probably cost you around £50, but I think they're a lot cheaper in America. Certainly they don't. Heine, that imports Colonel Coon, doesn't import this one. They only import the Stockman, Barlow and Trapper, and they only import the walnut ones. They don't do the Delrin ones, and they charge 50 quid for each of those. I suspect this might be the same or possibly even more. But you know, it would be a good carrier if it was only legal to carry, but it's not. Biggest you could carry in the UK would be this size. This one's a Rough Rider, so it's also Smoky Mountain Knife Works. You can see it's just that bit smaller, and the cutting edge is just UK legal. Unfortunately, this one is lockback, so you can't actually carry it in the UK. This one is interesting. I think it's interesting because I think this is very much a halfway house between these two. Because although, you know, on first hand, this looks straight like a toothpick. If you look at the shape of this, the curve here, and the sort of more stubby end to the powder horn, as opposed to the almost pointed end on the toothpick, and also the blade with its clip starting right back here, and this one its clip starting right back here. This is more more of a hybrid between the two. This is called the French tickler. Also helps me in my idea that these two are probably, at least in some way, connected. So anyway, this isn't about those. This is about Colonel Coon's large 5-inch toothpick, which thank you very much, Tobias. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely knife, and we're going to see a couple more from Tobias in the next couple of videos based on this. So thank you very much. If you like this stuff, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of it, please press the subscription button, and remember to ring notifications if you actually want to be notified of videos that are coming up, of which there will be more. Thank you. Bye.